World Athlete of the Year, a title designated for someone that absolutely dominates their competition throughout an entire season. And this specific accomplishment really can only be earned if you have a great overall performance with very little negatives. Now for this video, we'll be covering the men's side, and we'll make sure to cover the women's side in another video. But let's just take a look at some of the candidates that we have right now. There's Kelvin Kiptum, Jakob Ingebrigtsen, there's Mondo Duplantis, Noah Lyles, Alvaro Martin, Miltiadis Tentoglou, Ryan Crouser, Karsten Warholm, LePage from Canada, El Bakkali from Morocco, and Neeraj Chopra from India. This is a star-studded lineup, and every single one of these athletes were either a world champion, a potential world record breaker, or they just pulled out an amazing world championships, such as Noah Lyles. And for this video, I'm going to be looking through each athlete, and we're going to go through who I think has the best chance at winning the World Athlete of the Year. Now to start off, let's take a look at Ryan Crouser. He broke his own world record, and he won the World Championships again. This man has proven time and time again to be the shot-putting GOAT, and his consistency at throwing beyond 23 meters is out of this world. However, that being said, I really doubt that he'll win this year's World Athlete of the Year. It's just so rare for a thrower to win this event, so while I do think that Ryan Crouser is still one of the most underrated athletes on the planet, I think he probably won't win this distinction. Next, let's take a look at Martin from Spain, who won this year's World Championships in the walking events. And I've said this before, and I'll repeat it again, the walking events are also underrated. I think these athletes are world class, and people have no clue at how fast these athletes are actually walking. But in a similar way to Crouser, it is just very, very uncommon to see a walker beat out some of the other athletes, such as the famous world record holders and the other track and field events, so I doubt he will win this distinction as well. Next, let's take a look at LePage from Canada, this year's decathlon world champion, and he did a tremendous job winning this gold medal against a very talented field, getting close to 9,000 points. Now, with a total score of 8,909, this actually places LePage at number 6 all-time, only falling behind some of the greatest performances in track history. But this would be very difficult for him to pull out the victory as well, and while I think that decathletes don't quite get the love and attention that they deserve, I probably wouldn't consider him a favorite to win this title. Next, let's take a look at Miltiadis Tentoglou from Greece, one of the most underrated championship athletes of all time. In this year's World Championships, he clutched up his final round like an absolute legend, and upon his final jump, he actually beat out the second-placed athlete by just 2 centimeters, beating out Wayne Pinnock from Jamaica, who leapt to a distance of 8.50 meters. Tentoglou has proven time and time again to be an incredible athlete when the big moments are on the line, and I would love to see him take this title, but he is just up against some very heavy hitters in this list. Next, let's take a look at Karsten Warholm from Norway, who really turned his 2023 into a season of revenge. In 2022, he started his season quite well, but then he got injured about midway through the season, and come the World Championships, he just wasn't quite able to perform like he wanted to. However, in 2023, he threw down so many sub-47-second clockings that he arguably had an even better season than his Olympic season back in 2021. With a World Championship to his name and an absolute assault on the record books, Warholm proved his greatness as easily one of the greatest hurdlers of all time. Warholm definitely deserves this title. He turned around a very difficult 2022 into a legendary 2023. But he will be up against the likes of other athletes, including Kelvin Kiptum. Now, I would love to see Kelvin Kiptum win this title, but it is so rare for a marathoner to win the World Athlete of the Year, unless you're Kipchoge breaking 2 hours back in 2019, which was an event that took over the entire world. It's just probably not going to happen for a marathoner who's up against the likes of other great talents and sprinters that we will soon get to. Now, Kiptum ran 2 of the greatest marathons in history this season. He broke the world record in Chicago, he ran the second fastest clocking in the marathon at the time in London, and he has dethroned Kipchoge, a huge accomplishment for a marathoner. Next, let's look at one of the rising stars of track and field, Neeraj Chopra, who accomplished something pretty crazy on Instagram. Now, if you don't know already, one of the ways that World Athletics selects their Athlete of the Year is through an online poll, and they actually share their pictures on Instagram, and whoever gets the most likes basically takes that part of the vote. Now, this is only 25% of the total vote, as the World Athletics Council and other World Athletics federations do make the ultimate selection. However, if we go over to Instagram, we can see that Chopra has over 400,000 100,000 likes on this one photo, and when you compare that to the other athletes that don't even have 100,000, you realize the power of India and the power of influence that he truly has. Next, let's take a look at Mondo Duplantis, who certainly has a great chance at winning this year's World Athlete of the Year. Now, he was last year's World Athlete of the Year, as he did win the World Championships and broke the world record last season, and he did the exact same thing again this season, except he didn't break it in the World Championships. He did win the world title, but he broke it come the Eugene Diamond League Finals at the Prefontaine Classic, jumping a ridiculous distance of 6.23, and you know this man has even more greatness just around the corner. He certainly deserves it, but he will be up against very stiff competition. And up next is El Bakkali from Morocco, one of the greatest all-around steeplechasers of all time. In this year's World Championships, he again pulled out the victory, and we knew that he was a big threat for that because he has a crazy finishing kick, challenging the 60-second barrier over the final lap almost every time that he runs. And even though LePage did break the world record this season, El Bakkali has become the first Moroccan to ever win the Steeplechase World Championships, a very historic feat. And now we're down to the final two, and I think these two have the best chance at winning the World Athlete of the Year. And first, we're going to talk about Jakob Ingebrigtsen, who set the track on fire almost every single time he touched the track. This season, he went undefeated except for one race, and that, unfortunately for him, was the World Championship Finals in the 1500. But outside of that, this man was smoking. He won the Indoor European Championships in the 1500, he won the Indoor 3000 for the European Championships, he broke the world record for the 2 mile, he broke the world record for the 2000 meters, he broke his own European record over the 1500 meters, and he repeated in the 5000 meters of the World Championships to win the title. In 2023, Ingebrigtsen proved objectively to be one of the greatest middle distance talents of all time, and I think with a few more seasons, he has a real chance at challenging Hicham El Guerrouj for that title. And now it's time for the last athlete, and that athlete is Noah Lyles. I think more so than anyone else on this list, Lyles proved his greatness when it mattered the most, winning 3 World Championship golds in the 4x1, the 100, and the 200 meters. In addition to running extremely well in the World Championship Finals, Lyles has also continued his untouchable winning streak in the 200 meters since August of 2021. Again, Lyles broke 19.50 seconds this season with a 200-meter season's best of 19.47, and he also set a very impressive 200 record this season, now holding the single most sub-20-second clockings in 200-meter history, outperforming the likes of Usain Bolt over the half-lap distance. The World Athlete of the Year is extremely difficult to attain, and with so many great athletes on this list, I now want to hear from all of you. Who do you think is going to win this title, and why do you think they deserve it over everyone else? Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, until next time.